Reading the meeting, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, as a moment of silence, if you just think about over the last month since we were here last time, the United States has witnessed and felt many natural disasters going throughout the United States, heat-related, fires, and some flooding. And then yesterday with the two fires that we have on the island of Maui and the Big Island that is just apparently is devastating a lot of Maui, especially Lahaina area. So let's take a moment of silence and just think about how fortunate we are to be in the area we're in. Thank you. And now we'll have a closed session report by the clerk of the board.
Okay. Thank you. Item 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation superintendent. Item 4.2, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to accept settlement in Orange County Superior Court case number 30-2020-01148065 CU-PO-CJC with plaintiff 8. Item 4.3, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the settlement agreement in OAH case number 2023040723, resolving all issues in students' due process complaint by making changes to the IEP, conducting and funding assessments, and providing services and reimbursements. Item 4.4, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. Item 4.5, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to accept the agreement regarding employee HR-2023-24-02. Item 4.6, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to suspend without pay for 2 days employee HR-2023-24-01.
Thank you. Next item is student speakers. Do we have any students in the audience that wish to speak? Okay, moving on. Reports of associations. Mr. Schuster.
Good evening, folks. I'm glad to be back here at the start of a new school year. But a few things I wanted to update the board about when it comes to our association. Is the work that's been done over the summer. It is a time of rejuvenation, a time of relaxation, but it's also been a time of work and really rededicating ourselves to our students and our community. And I wanted to go over a few things. As soon as we got out in June, immediately a group of ASTA members along with a group from the district went to Philadelphia to take a look at community schools models, to look at things that we were doing right, to look at things that we could learn from others, and to understand where we were absolutely on the right track. The very next week, another group went to San Francisco, where we were selected to present statewide for all of the districts around the state that are implementing community schools. We brought parents, students, teachers, and staff with us for those presentations. Shortly after that, we were at the NEA Representative Assembly, the National Assembly in Florida, where a presentation on community schools was led by myself and Emma Alvarez, a student, a rising freshman at Anaheim High School, who spoke to a room of 7,000 teachers about her community school experience and how incredible it's been in Anaheim. You may have seen some commercials around CTA and community schools. The second round just started this week and largely feature Jesse Alvarez, one of the parents from our community, in the new commercials. We're very excited about the selection and a lot of the footage is also recognizable because it was filmed at Dale Junior High last spring. We continued at the Summer Institute, not just with community schools work, but teachers doing work around national board certification. We also had a group of teachers this year apply again for the Institute for Teaching, which is California Teachers Association grants for classroom projects. And this year, ASTA members applied more than any other local in the entire state. 15 applied. 7 were accepted for $120,000, coming back to projects, everything from where food meets technology to cultural histories, to CPR training for students, all kinds of programs that teachers have gone out, not just to advocate for, but to go and find resources and bring them back to this district and to our community. In fact, over the last 7 years now, it's 23 grants for $392,000 that our teachers have brought into our classrooms. Our own public information officer, John Bautista, built the Digital Media Center at Catella High School when he was a teacher there with a CTA grant for teaching. So our members have been very active. Also, I don't want to be remiss, 2 NEA grants that add up to $150,000 around the work of community schools that we have added as well the last 2 years. So we are here to work hard as a partner for what we want to do to implement, the vision of public education in this district. So it's important that we understand as we go forward that we find any way we can to support not just our teachers and nurses and speech language pathologists, but everyone as they implement this new model of community schools and everything that it brings in and how it's breaking down all of the silos and bringing everything in to one system of shared governance that all of our parents, students, communities, employees, and district staff can be part of. So I look forward to this year implementing that and doing everything we can to work together and support our colleagues and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you. Now we have co-presidents from APGA, Lacey Munger and Brittany Buska.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the introduction for Brittany, because Brittany is our APGA co-president this year. This is her year 1, so she will be here for 2 years. And this is my last year, supposedly, but we'll see how that works. But anyways, with that said.
If I let her leave.
I know. But this is Brittany Bauska. She's from Savannah High School, and we wanted to make sure that you had names to the faces, or faces to the names, so that way when we are splitting up duties, you know who's coming and you know who's here. We did want to just give us some comments about what counselors have been doing since we left last school year. We left last school year with having put over 7,000 students in summer school through our different programs that were offered to our students, whether it be Access, Apex, Seat-Based Learning, PCHS. And within those 7,000 students, when we came back, we then had to place those students appropriately in their classes based on had they passed their classes or not. Why that's important is because that did affect our staffing for our master schedules across the district. And so in support of our teachers, making sure that they were appropriately, our students were appropriately placed, our master schedules were appropriate and fine-tuned, considering that our numbers did go up within the classrooms. That's what we as counselors have been doing since we came back in July. And I would argue to say that we never really stopped working, even though we do take a vacation. Summer school does not stop, so that does not mean that we don't stop getting phone calls, emails, whether it be from teachers, Apex teachers, students, parents. We continue to answer those questions for them throughout the school year and throughout the summer. So from what we have heard, the last couple of days have been pretty smooth within our schools, and we've had a really, nice beginning. And so as more grades come in from second semester, there will be adjustments made, but all in the best interest of our students, of our staff, and making sure that our sites are run appropriately. And we will continue to say that it's counselors who really are the heart of our school. We are the ones who see teachers, parents, community members, all staff members on a regular basis. And so with that said, we would like to acknowledge the fact that due to some found funding, that we are receiving another counselor within our group, and we are appreciative of that. So thank you, board, for that, because that will once again help us to bring back our numbers and just the support that our students and our staff deserve. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amanda Bean from Alta.
Good evening. Not much of an update, really just wanted to, on behalf of Alta, welcome everybody back to the 23-24 school year. It was very exciting to see students and staff and teachers and admin all at the site yesterday, everybody looking happy and ready for our first day of school. And really just wanted to give a big congratulations and a big thank you to all of the departments and staff that contributes to making a successful opening of school. And we just want to wish everybody a wonderful school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from PTA this evening? I didn't see anybody in the audience. Okay, moving on. Public comments for open session items. Opportunities for public comments occur at the beginning of each agenda item or at this time. And the time limit is 3 minutes per person. We will begin with Luis Andres Perez.
Hi, Board. It's a question, but I know this is public comment, and this is regarding Agenda Item 9.3, which is a continued second reading on the graduation requirements. I'm just a little bit curious and more of a question. What's the rationale removing the civic and service learning requirement? As per your guys' board policy 71105, parentheses 6146.1, on the second page, the civic and service learning requirement, in addition to the prescribed coursework, all students shall satisfy complete 40 hours of civic and service learning activities to obtain a high school diploma. I'm curious to see what the rationale is removing it. I'd understand if it's a barrier to entry or barrier to graduation, but concerning that addition to 9.3, you're adding an additional education requirement. I'm just kind of concerned since the district's really pushing community schools. And I know it's a big thing in the last 10 years. I know when I graduated 2014, this wasn't a requirement for graduation. So I just kind of want to see what the rationale is. I didn't think there was any discussion in the first reading. I think there was more discussion if there was a roll call vote needed more. So just kind of wanted to see what the board's thought process on that was when it comes to 9.3. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Tanya Bogdanovich.
Hi, good evening to all the board members and guests. My name is Tanya Bogdanovich. I am a recently retired public school educator of 32 years, a parent, a grandparent, and an owner to 14 properties of which I contribute to the funding of public education, as well as to your positions on the board of the Anaheim Union High School District. I am very concerned to see such drastic changes being made and implemented into our public school educational curriculum and practices. First, please research and investigate Agenda Item 9.2, Resolution Number 2022/23, Commitment to Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I am a voice for many. I stand here for many, saying no to this curriculum indoctrination, which forces all students to submit to and to be exposed to a perverse sexual lifestyle. Second, Agenda Item 9.3, Revised Board Policy for high school graduation requirements, as he just recently, it's my same issue. Please do not add ethnic studies as a requirement for graduation. This should be a choice in college as an elective. Also, please do not remove the civic and service learning requirement, which is so rewarding to students as they develop character traits of kindness, integrity, and develop personal skills through helping others. Third, Item 10.11, the independent contractor agreement for the program Youth Engage. I don't know if you have researched it, but I have. It is led by Brian Brady. This is a program which teaches the do's and the don'ts of designing an effective youth council. We should be providing traditional public speaking classes to students to be able to speak in all arenas and situations of life, not just in a youth council. This will incur an additional cost of $70,000. My fourth and final is Agenda Item 10.17, Community Schools Service Provider Agreement, Illumination Institute. I urge you to vote no. This is the practice of Buddhism, which is a religion, a philosophy, and a set of beliefs and practices of mind and body control. Students would be practicing during school hours on public campuses from 30 to 45 minutes. It uses the terms mindfulness and teaches students to lie on mats, kneel to prepare for their posture and breathing techniques, to connect with deeper states of consciousness. The Illumination Institute has recently been implemented in some schools in California and Alaska and in the country of Laos. And Michael Matsuda, our superintendent, is on the board of this institute, which is asking for $58,000 to fund. This is using his own personal beliefs to fund a program and enforce this practice upon the students in the Anaheim Union School District. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will take the time to do further investigation, as I have done before, making life-changing decisions that will cause harm, confusion, and division.
Thank you. Moving on to items of business, number 9. 9.1, school-sponsored student organizations.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. 9.2, resolution number 2022-23-E-03, commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and this is a roll call vote.
Motion for this resolution?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Guerrero.
Aye.
Ms. Piercy.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo.
Strong aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. That's 5-0. 9.3, revised board policy 71105, parentheses 6146.1, high school graduation requirements, second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We have any discussion?
Just one quick discussion section. Can you just provide some context of how we will continue to recognize civic and service learning at our sites?
Yeah, and thank you, Trustee Guerrero. So just so you all know, the civic education or civic service learning requirement, although you're potentially voting to remove that as a requirement, that still remains a high priority for the district. I think to the gentleman's point, there were students who were not meeting the requirement for a variety of reasons, and this then became a barrier that could prohibit their graduation. So, and that was never the intent when the policy was put into place or the requirement was put into place. We will have a way to recognize students who meet that requirement. As you know, the cords and sashes that students wear, there'll be pins that will be able to recognize when they meet those hours. So it's still going to be pushed. We still have the service lawn, the STEAM-a-Palooza, in addition to other opportunities for them to be engaged. And additionally, now that all of our schools are recognized as California democracy schools, they do a civic action project. That is a service project, and now we can say with confidence our students are getting those experiences. But if we got a student who comes in their senior year, they missed that experience their junior year, we're not going to prohibit that student from graduating. So this is a way to honor that requirement, but without forcing it as a barrier, which again was not the intent of the board or the cabinet at the time that was initially passed.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, to that point, talking with a high school principal, she was disappointed to see this kind of requirement eliminated entirely, because she said there were so many students who would do this and then learn, oh my, this is really neat, I really enjoyed this, that expanded their, their background. And now she says very few of them are going to do it. So I kind of question, because, and my next thing is the ethnic studies. We are requiring it, but isn't this a state requirement? It is. And is the state requirement starting this year or next year?
It's the class of
2029.
class of 27, but we're
27.
But we have
Okay.
students who are in high school that are
So
working
we're
towards
just
that requirement.
ahead of the curve. So my point being, the ethnic studies is a state requirement. It's not just us deciding that this is a requirement for our graduation. But and our ethnic studies are going to be done in two ways. We're going to have actual ethnic studies courses that they can select, or we're going to have ethnic studies embedded in some other classes, like English classes or whatever. So the students aren't forced to take an elective entirely of ethnic studies, so therefore losing a choice. That's not going to happen. So at least we're doing it this way. But I would still like to see maybe if we could have some service hours required so every student would give it an opportunity to experience it, whether it be 5 or 10 hours. 40 is a lot, okay? And so now that we're putting something else in here, I wouldn't mind seeing some, even if it's in the democracy course or something, but make our students step out a little bit, whether it be for SEMA-Palooza or whether it be for the college and career fair or something where they're spending some time for the better good of the community. So.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I tended to, after I read that and I actually saw it crossed out, I was like, oh, wait, when did we do that? And I understand in the spirit and the intent that we didn't want to penalize students, but I've also been approached about, you know, if you don't kind of require it, then they won't come and volunteer. And I think in the spirit of the volunteering and the requirement is to get them there, and after the students are there, they come back the next day, and we do have a plethora of opportunities for them to do the, you know, registration, you know, on its own. I think people could fulfill, you know, a year's requirement for this. And so I'm really struggling with removing it altogether as well. If we could, you know, as Anna suggested, you know, reducing the amount of time or hours. So, you know, we're really helping our students to really understand in the spirit of the community service, in the spirit of the engagement, civic engagement, and doing what's right in your community. We kind of have to nudge them and teach them and a requirement. I mean, you know, a lot of kids need that push. Yes, that I was trying to think of the right word. So in that spirit, I'm really hoping that the board can rethink that requirement, and maybe we can come to some soft landing.
I have to agree with the two other board members. Yesterday, when I was touring schools, one of the principals mentioned to me about during the summer a student was doing some volunteer work, and they were a junior and they were going to go over their 40 hours. And so they were having a discussion about, well, you don't have to do anything more in your senior year. And they said, but I want to. This has been so much fun doing what I've been doing. He says, I want to do more. So, and then being on a scholarship foundation, one of, in evaluating the scholarship applications and what the students turn in, volunteering is part of it's not a requirement, but they certainly get points when they do volunteer, and it's based upon the number of hours. So, and it's all trying to get the students to, as we just said, give back and recognize, and some of them don't really recognize how important it is to give back to their community. So I think we need to do something, and again, it doesn't have to be a large amount of hours, but something to give them the impetus to get out there and recognize that it is important to be giving back to the community in some form. So I would recommend that this continue to be an information item, and that we bring it back with some tweaking to the policy.
I'd just like to add, I'm very sympathetic and empathetic to the comments made. I think 40 hours is excessive, but I think the value, not just for these young people learning and experiencing life, the community benefits from this. When you give of yourself to your community, that is value that you take with you for the rest of your life. And you can't put a price tag on it. And I want you all to know how much I value you, that you are here tonight, that you care, that you speak up, and that is what makes this country great. And I want to thank you. So I'm open to change.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to look into, I think you mentioned that some of them weren't able to complete the 40 hours, maybe looking into any stuff that impeded them, whether like transportation or maybe communication on where those hours are available. But I think to my colleagues' points, maybe looking at lowering the 40 hours if that's something that's not reachable for our students.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Do you have any questions of the board in attention? Okay, very good. 9.4, licensing agreement, Lumicend.
So moved.
Second?
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I had one question. I just wanted to clarify, there's no costs in entering into this agreement?
There's no cost.
Okay, that's all I
Very
need.
good. Okay. Any more questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. 9.5, community school services provided agreement, Serve the People Community Health Center.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. 9.6, independent contractor agreement, Justin Brisdale.
So moved.
Second?
That was Drisdale, not Briz, okay. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. 9.7, independent contractor agreement, Neil Taylor.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. 9.8, revised policy, board policy 6203.1, in parentheses, 9270, conflict of interest, first reading. And we'll move on to the consent calendar. Anybody wishing to poll anything? No polling? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion?
So
moved.
moved.
We have a
Val?
motion and a second for
You're not-
the consent calendar in total.
You're not pulling anything?
Nope,
Wow, okay.
It's unusual.
I know.
I know.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Next is superintendent's report.
No report.
No report, and how about the staff?
Yes, you do. You're on the mend.
You're on the man.
On the
Your
mend.
boot- your
On
boot
the
is
mend,
off. Your boot
yes,
is
I
off.
am.
My report, oh, good, sorry.
No, that's okay, thank you.
You're on the mend. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna show my foot, but
They're going to say, yeah,
Show it
like in
again.
Yeah, don't do that.
beginning of the year, you know.
Just want to say
Greeting.
Happy New Year. We had a great, as I think Lacey and Grant have said, with opening of the schools went smoothly. A massive shout out and affirmation to our site administrators, our teachers, our counselors, our classified staff, all of our community members for contributing to that open. It's been a great smart start. A lot of positive vibes that we're hearing about and feeling on our campuses, and just excited for the year to come.
Good, great. Anybody, any?
Ditto.
Ditto? More staff, more staff?
I do want to take this time to thank the City of Cypress for allowing us to use their park for our parking, because we are undergoing construction at Cypress High School. I also want to thank the Cypress Police Department for having all the officers to be on the streets to make sure that our kids are getting to school safely. So just want to make sure that that they know that. I was at Oxford, Cypress, Walker Kennedy the last 2 days as well.
Very
Thank
good,
you.
thank you. No?
Just want to give a huge shout out to our community school teams led by Carlos Hernandez and everyone else involved for executing the community reflective learning walks the past couple of days. We heard nothing but positive reviews from all of our staff at our sites, and it was just a wonderful way to kick off the year and prepare to welcome our families and students as we continue to get to know needs and assets of the community and build a relationship. So good job and kudos to all of our team.
Thank you. All right. Next is, I turned the page, I don't have the proper number in front of me, so hold on just a minute. I know what it is, but it is number 12 Board of Trustees reports now.
Thank you. So I had the opportunity to attend the Back to School Outreach Fair at Gilbert High School, hosted by our AUHSD Mental Health and Wellness Department in partnership with the collaboration to assist McKinney-Vento and Motel families. And I just want to thank all of the community partners that came out to participate in that. I also had the opportunity to attend Sycamore Junior High School's community school tour. I know Mr. Saldivar mentioned it. I know a lot of our all of our schools went through the community school tours, and I want to thank the coordinators for organizing that, and I thought it was very well done. I really enjoyed the tour of my community, and I know other schools had students that hosted the tour, so thank you to the students that hosted a tour to their own community. And then I attended a few community events, the community schools conference that was community-led at Ponderosa Elementary, and then a few back-to-school community fairs that were led by some of our community leaders. So thank you for them for providing resources as students prepared to head back to school. And then I just want to echo everyone's comments and wishing everyone a very happy academic school year and happy first day of school yesterday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Piercy?
Okay, I was able to do the community school tour with Western High School. And even though I thought I knew the area well, I did learn quite a bit, and it was very interesting. Also, I attended Lexington Principal's Coffee this morning. But wait a minute, before I did that, I went to Lexington yesterday afternoon to collect my granddaughter. Oh, I was appalled at the traffic. There must have been 1,200 cars out there in line, to each one picking up their kid. I mean, I couldn't believe, and this was at 20 to 3. So you'd figure out that it was at least 15 minutes after kids were out, but the traffic was backed up 2 main streets. I went, oh my, okay. So, but then I did go this morning and attend the coffee, very well attended. They had approximately 160 parents, both in person and online, for the coffee, and it was very well done. Danny did a good job going over everything, and gave the parents a chance to question. And I learned something about our computers, in other words, how we are issuing the Chromebooks to our students in 7th grade, and they keep them. Okay, for the whole 6 years they're in Anaheim Union. So that was something I didn't know, so I thought that was interesting. But I also kind of helped chime in with Danny when he'd refer to something about history of the school, and I went, okay, I know that. I mean, since I was there for 25 years in that school alone. So it was fun. And he had some yearbooks from the very beginning. And I learned that Lexington's yearbook was officially called the Regulus. I didn't know that. Regulus. So I learned something else there. Then from there, I went to Cypress High School. And I was so happy to see the fencing is going up. And I talked to Jennifer, the principal, and she told me several parents were really glad to see fencing going up. It may not be beautiful, but it's going to be secure, and that is really good. Both schools said they had a really good starting of the year. Things were going smoothly, so that was good to hear. And it is really, I'm going to say something to the city to say thank you again, because to offer the use of Oak Knoll parking for our students is great, because half of the Cypress parking lot is now gone. And last year, that entire parking lot was filled. So this is a little difficulty for us right now while they put up the solar paneling, but once it's done, it'll be great. And I'm sure that as they get strips done, we can start using certain strips. So a few weeks of inconvenience, but I'm really pleased that the city of Cypress came forward and did that. So it's really good. And that's just about all I've had time to do so far. I mean, I did some elementary school stuff too, but that doesn't count here.
Thank you.
It all counts.
Ms. Smith?
Well, I don't have a lot to report, but I am going to share something, a project I've been working on for years. And as Mrs. Piercy said, that we now have fences around our schools. And we now have officers that have to go to our schools, and the changes that we have all seen societally. What Patty has to do with the money that she's given from our bonds to upgrade our schools, to air condition them, and to bring them up to the standards of what the needs are for today. And I'm just going to share just an overall that when I look at things that have occurred societally, I think that what we are doing and how we are handling the homelessness societally needs to be changed. And it's going to take a real mindset for people to understand that people living on their streets in our communities from Seattle to Portland to San Francisco, Los Angeles, Anaheim, down to San Diego, it's not acceptable. So I'm working on a project. I'm hoping that you will learn about it. But the idea is that we have to change the law. And the fact is that when Governor Reagan was governor, he signed a document that was put on his desk, and it changed the law, and it opened all these facilities for the mentally ill. And they were released, and 50 years later, we see where we are. And now that I am the age I am, and what I have seen and observed, having been from the San Francisco Bay Area, growing up there, I knew what that community was like, and it's not like that today. They opened the Mark Tompkins Hotel up on Nob Hill for the homeless. So I think what we need to do is we need to reopen facilities statewide from the north to the south, and we create hospitals for the mentally ill and the chemically addicted. And for those who want to re-enter society, they can go to a Bridges program like we have here in Anaheim out on the 91 freeway, so that they can get into career technology training, get jobs, open a bank account, get an apartment, and get back into life. So what I envision is that these facilities that we hopefully will open will be run by the medical school system, the UC system, and where people will be clean and safe and get appropriate medical care for their needs. So that's what I've been working on, and I hope in time to come that it will start to bring the change, and that we will be a model here in Anaheim. And we're calling ourselves Anaheim Hearts United. So I share that with hope and gratitude, because I think that we are such fortunate people in this country where we live. You look at the horrors that other people are living through in Florida, you name it, Tennessee, Hawaii, Maui. And so I just proffer that, I just give that to you, because I think that people are sinking into hopelessness in this country, and it's not healthy. So.
Wish your project well, Mrs. Smith. Ms. Randall Trejo?
Okay, thank you. I want to wish everyone a happy, I always say Happy New Year because it's our happy new school year. And Anaheim Elementary started today, so today was our first day of welcoming our students. And I think we both missed each other, the teachers, the staff, the employees, and the kids. So I was fortunate also, as Grant said, we never really stopped, all of us working during the summertime, and I was able to do some training as well with GASELPA, and I'm very fortunate to get some RBT training and CPR training with them. I attended our ROP meeting, And I also attended their teacher training back to school, and they're in service. And they were doing their training for all of their teachers as well. I attended the resource fair that Adela organizes every year at Gilbert High School for unfortunate circumstances that our families face. But what I love about that every year is they just do that with such dignity in providing for our families. And unfortunately, there was another one going on at the same time, which kind of divided our family. So I think we're going to tweak that for next year. But it's an amazing resources that our families get from our district. And Adela's been doing that for 15 years now. So kudos to her. I visited on my own. I had been meaning to do it. I went to visit the Mendes Tribute Monument Park, and I encourage everyone to go out there and take a minute. It's on Olive and Westminster Boulevard, I believe.
I think so.
Just a tremendous amount of love put into that. It's a small, tiny little monument, but it's just beautiful, and it's done with such dignity, and it's our history. It's our history. It belongs to us. Without that case, tiny little case in Westminster, and the impact that it made on what we're actually doing today. I am so proud to be a trustee of this district. You were going to point out this wonderful directory that we were privileged to get today. Some of it is for in-house, but we encourage, Catherine and I wanted to encourage a lot of those who are maybe watching to really go on our website and just watch the highlights of all the things that we're doing. It's just too many things to even to talk about. There's just a plethora of information, and they're easy videos that you can watch to just learn about all of the programs and wonderful education opportunities that we're giving our students and our parents. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randall Trejo. I attended 3 different ROP events. One was a new teacher day for their training. One was for their fall in-service, and another one was just the regular old ROP board meeting that we had yesterday, which is standard operating procedure for them, but everything was running smoothly. They had, with our district and other districts, did many upgrades in the various campuses that we have programs on. And I went in one class yesterday, and it was culinary arts, and it was really looking good. I know it still has a little ways to go, but the work that was done over the holiday, it was really nice to see. Also attended the Anaheim City intern recognition, which was really great to see the students and hear what they did during their internship. I attended a City of La Palma meeting, and it's something that the city and cities, all 5 of our cities, and the district get together throughout the year and talk about issues and coordination and that, how we can help each other mutually. And they were very pleased to get back on board again after a hiatus because of the COVID issue. Also, I was very pleased during I think I've gone to 14 schools so far in back to school yesterday and today. And I have to say that every single one of them, from everybody that I talked to, said it was a tremendously good back to school. Opening of the schools, the teachers, the students coming back were excited to be there. You can see the smiling faces on walking around, sitting in classrooms, and they were engaged. There wasn't a lot of education process going on that they thought they weren't getting really educated, but they were, because it was all working on relationships. And that's all part of the education that we want to develop with the students. So it was working very well in all of the classrooms. And I am very pleased to see that we have, and I met a number of SROs. We have them all now in all of our schools in the city of Anaheim and our schools in with La Palma and with Cypress. So we have SROs covering all schools, which is very pleasant. Finally, we were able to get it put together with them, and I didn't hear anything but good reports. And also, they were the SROs and new ones that I met yesterday and today. They were just smiles. They were just so happy to be on our campuses. So we look forward to good things.
Mr. O'Neill, can you explain to the public what SROs are?
Sure. They are school resource officers. They are regular police officers, but they're specifically trained in education codes. So they know because there's different laws governing our students on campus versus being on the street. So they are trained in not only the laws, but also how to deal and de-escalate situations on campus and develop relationships with our students so that they realize that the police are good people and that they are not something to be afraid of. So it's a great program. Hopefully we can, over the years, because it's very costly for either the city or the school district, because a police officer is, when you figure out their training, their hours, their benefits, the police car and all that, it becomes, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per officer per year. So that's a big bite out of anybody's budget. So something that we work on, we get grants, and just hopefully we can continue on over the years.
I forgot to mention a
Oh.
couple of things.
Well,
got
I don't
carried
know.
away.
Okay,
Sorry.
quick, you have a
Really
minute and a
quick.
half. I'm timing
I
you.
was able to go to Cypress registration because I was around the corner doing training, and so I stopped by, and I was just going to stop by for a minute, but it was really amazing just how smooth the registration went. So, and then I also did the bus tours, and I went to Anaheim's, and I went on Gilbert's. So kind of sort of in the same area, but just the tremendous job they did at it really explaining. And the one thing that impacted at me, and I think a lot of the other teachers there, was that we drive by, we get off the freeway and we're heading to our job, and we drive by these areas all the time, but do we really stop to look at really the surrounding area? And do we really imagine if, students have to walk home in some of these certain areas, and really what that impact makes, but not so much to pity our students or, but to really celebrate their resilience and celebrate that, in spite of some of these circumstances that they are in, that they thrive, and we're a thriving district, so I really enjoyed that, and that was whoever decided to do that, I think really made an impact on our staff.
Just as a follow-up to that, because I did ask every principal and people that I talked to on campuses about that. I didn't have the opportunity to be on any of the buses, but they said there was someplace there was some hesitancy about wanting to go do this, but when it was all said and done, everybody was so pleased that they got the opportunity to really see the area that their students live in and where they come from, and really get a better feel, so they can have more, I don't know if the word is empathy, but a better understanding of their students and their student lives and what they're facing. So I think it was a fantastic opportunity for all of our teachers.
It was, and I don't know, I went on Western's community tours, and I don't know if every school did the same, but I know that Western had 3 students or 4 students who were the ones that developed the whole trip. They're the ones that decided where they would be going. They gave the background, and it was just very, very well done. And I think it's a great practice. I mean, this is something I think which is good to be done every couple of years, because if, as we gain some new teachers. And something else I wanted to bring up was this habit of, well, it's the thing that the junior highs are doing, where they have the 7th graders come the day before or 2 days before to kind of walk the campus with their mom and kind of get an idea of where things are, and if they have their schedule, they can learn beforehand. I was at Walker on, was it Monday or Tuesday? But
Tuesday.
I think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday, mhm.
Yeah. And they had a really good turnout. And I mean, these kids were coming, and the teachers that were there, they were going and talking to, but they were walking around, finding out where their classes were. And it is a great practice, and I think it's a big help for the 7th graders. So they don't feel quite so lost when they come in, because the first day of school for 7th graders, they look like a deer in the headlights, they're just, it's a big change for them from an elementary school to this big campus and all these different teachers. So I did that. Now, since I have the floor, I have a question.
I beg your pardon. Your time is short here, lady.
Okay. I just want to ask for something, and I can wait until
Wait a minute,
future
yeah,
meeting.
we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Okay, advanced planning.
Yeah, that's number 13, advanced planning. Anybody have anything?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Percy.
Okay. I understand that E-Cadence has changed a lot this year. But first of all, I would like to have some tutoring on the ARIES program. I'm having trouble, Jaren, when you send me the information for the teachers.
thank you.
Principals meeting and what have you, I don't get it all the time. So I need some tutoring. And I was going to ask if any other board members.
I'm the same.
Okay, feel like it would be nice to have some tutoring on this. Set aside a time when we can come in, and I don't know who would do it, Eric or Matt or whatever. And also explain to me E-Cadence. I don't think we need to utilize it, but the teachers are utilizing it. But I know that we can utilize ARIES. So I'd like some more tutoring.
That's a great idea.
Okay?
I would second that, yeah.
We third it and fourth
Third
it?
it, fourth it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all.
all right, thank you. All right,
Turning
we're on.
into E-Cadence experts.
Okay,
You'll become an
next is, future meeting dates is September 14th is our next meeting, and at 6 PM, and number 13.2. Any suggested items? Ms. Piercy went out of line, but that was okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so nothing beyond that, so now we
I
go
would
to,
like to add, I really am serious about changing when we return to school in the fall and go back to the time when, in the past, where school would start just after Labor Day and graduation would be in mid-June. When this school year was changed, it makes it very difficult for families that have kids in 2 different systems.
Ms. Smith, we discussed that at the last meeting, and we asked staff to get together some information to bring it forward, so.
And I'm hoping that we can learn what other school districts' dates are. And I'm going to add, it's very costly to pay for air conditioning in June. And it's hot for these kids out on the playfield, so.
14.0,
So moved.
14.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.